We're back with another episode of the Mosh Sez Show.
We color coordinated. Look at this.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well,
But right before we went on the air, made that comment to Chaz. Look, we color matched, and he responded, "You're starting to look like Santa Claus."
You are. You're starting to look like Santa on my shirt. But listen, it's the holidays. It's I know a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, Santa Claus isn't real." Santa Claus is real. God damn it! I believe in Santa still to this day. It's the spirit behind Santa that you have to believe in, not just that he's some crazy, creepy guy that comes down your chimney and leaves presents for you.
See, I believe in the Grinch because it's me, but I also believe that you had one hell of an experience this weekend. We're going to get into the topics of the show today, talking about the new Netflix launch of Raw and a bunch of fantasy booking goodies. But first, you had a wicked weekend, didn't you, Chaz?
Well, I had a wicked Thursday night. So that
it was Thursday.
It was last Thursday night, and it was the Men of Style. It was the nonprofit, the charity event that I was pushing for junior achievement in South Florida with the Team Mosh shirts. Which, if you bought a shirt, I really appreciate it, and if you didn't, you suck.
Yeah, screw you.
Right, but anyway, it was a great event. So it was 12 men representing 12 different nonprofits. And again, I was representing junior achievement in South Florida. But it was wicked was, I guess, with the movie coming out, and I don't know if it's on Broadway, if it's a movie, I think it's all of it. But that was kind of the theme of it. So you had the little flying monkeys running around, guys dressed, I guess, guys, I don't know, guys, girls, people dressed as the little monkeys from Wicked, from The Wizard of Oz. I wanted a picture with one in the worst way, but I wasn't able to get one just because things got chaotic. And probably the biggest focus was Dorothy, who was up on a pole. She was up on one of those poles where it's got the circle around it, and she was sitting up there. I don't want to say she was half naked, but she was pretty much half naked with her ass. Literally, so the circle comes around this way, and her ass was like eating the pole like this. Like it literally came down over the pole like this. And she had fishnets on. She had a really great ass, and it was really funny. And the funniest part was if you could have taken a picture or had video, all the guys would have been standing there like this, like looking at her ass, figuring how far was the pole up her ass or how her butt cheeks around it. But then you had the women that were there and the gay guys that were there, and they were going, "Look how dirty her shoes are." So it was just such polar opposite. But it was such a great experience, and not only just because we raised a bunch of money for junior achievement and all these other great nonprofits out there, but the experience was just fun. Like I've done runway stuff with WWE back in the day. Actually, Glenn and our first WrestleMania in Chicago, we did a fashion show, and Glenn and I came out in like sleepwear, but it was like old school sleepwear, almost like it wasn't like a skirt, but it was more like one of the long ones that came all the way down. So they allowed us to dress to match our gimmick, which was fun.
That's
like we
awesome.
had robes on and things like that. So that was fun. But the cool part was, I said to the guy who was running it, I said, "So you're telling me we hit the runway 3 times, but there's only 2 outfit changes?" He's like, "Right." I said, "Okay." He goes, "So you go out in like the dress you want." So I had like, I don't know, I guess dress pants on, like a nice shirt and a suit jacket. And the first time I went out, of course, the suit jacket got dropped on the ground, and I started doing a strip tease halfway down it.
Of course.
Then I stopped and I did my poses. So the second time was more of a relaxed thing. I had like a Tommy Bahama shirt on, Tommy Bahama jeans. But the third time, the idea was everyone just goes out, and you go out alphabetically. So being my last name's Warrington, I was the last one to go out every single time, which was great. So I said to him, "So we get 3 times, but we're only changing twice." He's like, "Yes." The third time, he goes, "It's really fast. You kind of just walk down in your relaxed outfit, go down the end runway, like you're waving to everybody, and it's over." So I said, "Great." So I said to the guys in the back, I go, "Listen, I brought full gimmick." I said, "The third time we go out, I want to get changed in the full gimmick. So I need help. Like I need you guys to stall a couple minutes to give me a few minutes." So as soon as I left the second time, I was walking off the stage. I just start ripping the shirt off. I start taking the pants off as I get to the back, and I'm standing there, and two of the guys were like, all right, you got time, go, go, go. Like I'm putting the skirt on, putting my socks on, I'm putting the headbanger shirt on, and then I go, do I have time for face paint? They're like, yeah, they're just starting now. You got time, go. So I run into the bathroom, putting face paint on, I got the necklace on. They're like, perfect, because the guy said to me, he goes, yeah, he goes, because I asked him, I'm like, can I change? I brought my gimmick, can I change? The guy that's trying, he goes, yeah, he goes, you could. He goes, but you're probably going to get lost in the shuffle. And I went,
what?
I said to him, I said, listen, I said, you've known me all of, I don't know, 2 months since we've been doing this and the different stuff we've done. He goes, yeah. I go, do you think I'm going to get lost in any kind of shuffle whatsoever with these people? He goes, it's just a big cluster and blah, blah, blah. And I go, all right, don't worry about it. He goes, you can. He goes, but it's probably going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm like, don't worry about it. So I got in full gimmick and we're lined up to go out. Now all the other guys were like, they were jacked and they were excited because I was telling all of them what the guy said was that I was going to get lost in the shuffle. And they were like, there's no way you would ever get lost in the shuffle doing this. So they go out, they start going out, they're going down the runway. So now I'm last. So as they're all going down, I walk partway, I kind of walk out and I just stand there and I wait. It's the dramatic pause. And as they're all coming back down, they see me. So everyone starts moving. So I'm coming down. I'm Mosh now. Full gimmick Mosh is coming out. And one of my friends, I have to find the video. She's the only one that got like a really good video. I stopped right in front of my group that were all wearing Team Mosh shirts. And I just stopped and I leaned down to lift my skirt like I normally would do. And I stopped. I went, oh, I didn't put my boxers on.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, so let me drop that. But as I came up, I just went full back like this because I had the mouth full of water, full spray. And she got it all in slow motion.
I need to see this.
It was awesome. It just goes up and like slowly you see the water like sprinkling back down. Yeah, and then I did my dance at the end of the stage and then went back. But the place popped. I didn't get lost in any kind of shuffle.
No, what a dumb what?
It was a blast though. I had such a good time. It was such a great experience doing it for, obviously for the charity to be able to raise some money for them, but at the same time, just the group of guys that were there. We were all there for the same reason, all to have a good time, and that's exactly what it was. It was a blast.
No, that's awesome, pal. And you guys, you said you raised a pretty good amount?
Yeah, there was a good amount. I don't know the exact number, but it was a good amount. I'm looking up that picture I just showed you. Where the hell did it go? So people made like cutouts. You can see it on here.
Freaking almost life-sized upper body cutouts of Chaz.
I was like, how many times do I wear my action figure T-shirt with a suit jacket?
Hey, if it works, it works.
It works. It works all. I do it all the time. So it was yeah. So here's one of me first coming out,
looking like $1 million.
Yeah. So it was funny.
If we get the video, I'm gonna post it on the Mosh Sez Show page. Which, by the way, over the span of like 24 hours, maybe a little bit more, we went from 2 likes on the page to 65, I think. So big ups to everybody that hit the link and pressed like or has shared the page. The more followers we get, the more this show can reach and a broader audience, guys. We're going to bring you bigger, better things. We had Pete Gas.
Yeah, the other thing we're going to do on the page, since you're talking about the page, is different clips that you won't see on here. Just different little things we do. If, I'm walking the dog and she does something stupid, I'm going to video it and put it on. Just whatever. That's going to be the page, just to kind of have a good time and promote and talk about stuff, talk about us, but, stuff.
Yeah, and if promoters can pay Chaz's exuberant fee, I'm going to try to get us booked together on more shows next year in 2025. I don't know, maybe tagging, maybe me managing you. I don't want to wrestle you anymore. You sliced years off my life.
Or maybe me just managing other people.
or you managing me. Could you imagine?
The first thing I'm going to say is get the fuck out of the ring.
Simon, I have a strategy for you. Come here. Get in the locker room.
Right. Get in the locker room. Match is over. If you won.
No, man, it's awesome. A lot of changes to the page. As I said, we had Chaz's pal Pete Gas on here. We got a lot of other surprising faces. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but we do have folks down the pike that want to come on the show. Want to give a special big ups to my pals, Jason Sensation and Dirty Devin Diaz, who were the first two people to directly text me and tell me how much they enjoy the show. So, guys, all the feedback, we appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. The show is only going to get bigger and better, as I said. But speaking of bigger and better, Chaz, Netflix. Who would have thought we would see the day that Raw would go to streaming, dude? Exclusive streaming.
It's funny. I saw this little video clip the other day, and it was I guess, a fan, and he was talking about, basically, he had a thing on there. It was he was, I guess, videoing himself as if he's watching the first episode of Raw on Netflix, and he's got like a cup, and he's standing there, and they're like, "Hey, it's WWE, like, welcome back. And coming to the ring right now, Seth fucking Rollins." Like, he throws his water in the air. Because, they're saying on Netflix it's going to be a little, from what I've heard anyway, it's going to be a little edgier than it was before, than it has been. So I'm just wondering if they're going to go that route.
See, I read an article. I didn't read the whole thing, but I skimmed through it. Nick Khan said Monday Night Raw is still going to be family friendly on Netflix. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to be whipping boobs out like they did in, when you guys were on the air. But
right.
I don't know how they can thrive with a fully PG product, especially with the great response that they got the last year with The Rock on there and the bleeding and the more adult themed. It doesn't have to be profane to be adult. You know what I mean?
It could be a combination of just a little bit of more adult things thrown in here and there, like the bleeding, maybe a shit or a cuss word here or there. I hope they don't. I hope it stays that way. I hope it doesn't go full blown, F this, F that. Like, it doesn't go rated R. Because what's going to happen then is you're going to drive, Nick Khan said family oriented. You need it to be family oriented to an extent, because without the kids, there's no parents who have the money to go to the shows. And I know house shows are dwindling down to nearly nothing. And, everything's trying to be TV and, and the PLEs and things like that. So you're going to need those kids to still want teach. You're going to need the parents. You need the kids to suck the parents in to be able to buy product, to be able to watch it. Because, again, if everything's on Netflix, they're already paying for it through Netflix. So how is WWE going to make more money, obviously, than just getting a big giant royalty from Netflix? But how are the guys going to make money?
No,
Also,
that's very true.
At the same time, is a totally different thing. Because, again, here we go. Back in my day, we got paid off of, royalties from, not just the figures and things like that, but the DVDs, the VHS tapes, the pay-per-views. They'd sell the pay-per-view, they put it on DVD. You go and buy the DVD, and we got paid royalties on it. The pay-per-views. If you're on the pay-per-view, depending on where you were on the card, you got a percentage of the buy rate. So you got royalties off of that. And when that went to the network, when they started WWE Network, and that went away, that created a big problem. And it's, from what I understand, that's one of the reasons CM Punk left when he left, because of the royalties going away as far as that goes. And me personally, I was still getting royalties back then. They weren't big, but if you get a 200-hour, 250 or 1,000-hour check out of nowhere and it basically was all DVD sales. You're like, oh, this is a check out of nowhere. Like, okay, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden they stopped because there was they're not selling the DVDs and the VHS stuff and things like that anymore. It's just straight being streamed. So I'm curious to see. I'm curious to know or hear how that works in the back end, if that makes sense.
Now, Chazzer, do you think that eliminates a lot of incentive for guys to really want to bust their butts in the ring or give it their all, if now that the incentive of driving up sales and pay-per-view buys is gone?
No, I don't think that'll stop anyone. The reason I don't think it would stop it is, biggest thing is you want to keep your spot. If you start slacking off, you're going to, it's like any other job you have. You start slacking off, you're gone. Everyone's replaceable. I don't care what you do in life, what your job is, unless you're a parent and a breadwinner, the sole breadwinner for your house, everyone is replaceable in your work. I mean, what I do with Dex Imaging, with the copier stuff, yeah, I put up giant numbers every month and every year, but I'm replaceable. Everyone's replaceable. Stone Cold left, The Rock left, John Cena's on his way out, The Undertaker's out, Kane's gone, all these guys are gone. The business is bigger than ever now than it has been in a long time. So everyone's replaceable, and you don't want to lose your spot. And a lot of these guys, they probably have guaranteed deals anyway, but you still want to be the best one there. You still want to outshine everyone. You want to go out there and when you have a match, you don't want to be known as the worst match on the card.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. And I mean, back then though, especially with this, I would assume whether you were jobbing, getting jobbed out, getting obliterated in the opening match, versus being in the main event, you would still prefer to get that pay-per-view check one way or another, right?
Oh, 100%. And then it even got to when Glenn and I were first started, we were still part-time, and we'd be on, like, they had the in your house pay-per-views. They had that pre-match, whatever, I don't even remember. They used to call it something. I don't remember.
The free-for-all.
The free-for-all. Like, our question was, is that considered a pay-per-view? Because do we get a piece of the pay-per-view?
Did you?
That was we got a very small little piece of it, but yes, we got something. But yeah, the goal was to be on the pay-per-view so you can get a piece of it, which is why that's why WrestleManias would always have some big giant match of some sort of tag team battle royal or WrestleMania when we had the hardcore battle royal. You always have something, or a 5 versus 5. You do something like that because they want to try and get everyone on the pay-per-view so everyone gets a piece of the pie. So that was the good part. That's why they always had those kind of generic, out of nowhere
multi-man matches.
Yeah, that don't really make sense, and you're just kind of out there. But that's to make sure everyone's on there and everyone gets a piece.
And like you said, everybody wants to have a part of the action. Everybody wants to be there. That's why, correct me if I'm wrong, I never understand this mentality of guys that are in a decent spot. Maybe you're not in a John Cena level spot, but these guys that ask for their release or exhibit purposeful poor behavior to get themselves canned because they want to go explore other avenues to wrestling as my passion and rah. One thing Bubba Ray Dudley told us at the school that got a lot of guys rubbed the wrong way, but I understood what he was saying. He went around the room asking, why did you get into wrestling? Why did you get into wrestling? And everyone who said, it's my dream, it's my passion, he chastised them. And his reasoning was, you got into the wrestling business to make money. And I don't get these guys that are with the WWE, for example, and they ask for their release. And some, mind you, it works out for some. Look at what Cody did. Matt Cardona's doing very well for himself. But a lot of the times, like, you just gave up a solid job because you wanted to chase winning a championship. And you and I talked off air after we recorded last week about the importance or non-importance of titles in wrestling. And I don't understand. Maybe you understand it better.
I guess it just depends on, listen, let's be honest. Let's be not honest, realistic. If guys are talking about asking for the release, that means they've already talked to other companies.
Oh.
I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I know, there's non-competes. There's different things like that. But behind the scenes, let's be realistic. You're talking to AEW or NWA, or you've already put your feelers out there for whatever. And so you've already know. Like, I'll use Ricochet as an example. He was like, all right, I want to be out. So he got out and he went right to AEW. And he's done what? But maybe AEW gave him a bigger contract than he had at WWE. So his thought is, hey, go to AEW and do nothing and get paid more money, take that money, invest it, and figure out different things to do with it, and then save my body. So I'm sure everyone's got their different reasons for doing, what you want to do. Like, I'll use Matt, because you brought Matt up, Matt Cardona's example. He was there for a long time.
Yeah.
Again, I have no idea how much money he was making when he was there. And I know with his YouTube, he was really the one who created social media with YouTube, because without his YouTube, they couldn't fire him for a long time because of his youth. He was over because of what he did on the internet.
Yeah.
So he was the first one to utilize that. But he's done some things, and I actually saw a video the other day of Chelsea. She was talking about how when Matt left, she told him, hey, don't go to one company. You need to work all of the companies, but work them all at different times. Like go to this company first, do a bunch of stuff there, and then go to this one, and just show up on this one, and kind of like what he's doing now. The first year, he didn't do that. He was like, no, I want to go here. But he wasn't getting over. He wasn't getting the traction he wanted on the indies and stuff like that. And it's funny because Chelsea says in the video, she's like, Matt will never give me credit for this, so I'm taking credit for it now. But that's what he's doing now. So he was smart about it. And he was like, right now, he's all of a sudden now he's in Ring of Honor challenging Jericho for the belt. Like, it's like, and then all of a sudden he was on AEW challenging Edge. He's just popping up in different places. So he's doing it differently. But he also, at the same time, has his podcast.
Yeah.
He's got his action figure company. So he has all these different things that he started doing. So I guess it just depends. You know, you can either sit there and be totally happy with just making a paycheck with WWE and either A, not being used or being used mediocre, and you're fine with it, then you're fine with it. Some people have egos and they want to do more and they think they want to do more. So it just, for me personally, what would I do? I don't know because I'm not there.
Well, but was there ever a time, Chaz, that you and Glenn ever, or maybe just you, considered going to WCW? Was there a time where you were unhappy with your spot or aspired to move up the ladder and thought, I'm going to jump ship?
Not really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And the only reason no is we always did WWE, WWF when we were job guys. We always went there. I think Glenn may have done one or two for WCW, but we were always at WWF. We felt WWF took care of us. They gave us our start. When Glenn got hurt with his knee, we were concerned because, okay, we didn't have a guaranteed contract.
Oh, you didn't?
Not at that time, no. So when we started, we had a part-time contract. The only thing we were guaranteed was a certain amount of money at every TV. But we weren't guaranteed to be at every TV. We just worked our way into being at every TV. Then we worked our way on to being on house shows. But our part-time contract, we could do other things. We were still able to go and do indie shows. And so, you know, once we were on TV, obviously we could start charging more for the indie shows because we're a bigger draw. So when Glenn got hurt, Bruce Pritchard came to us, and Glenn and I talked about it. We're like, shit, like we're going to be off like 6 months. How are we going to get paid? Bruce came up to us, and that was our first guaranteed contract, which wasn't that much money in the grand scheme of things, but we were excited. Like, okay, at least we know for the next 3 years, if I sit home, I'm getting paid.
Now, did they offer you guys the contract because Glenn got hurt and they wanted you guys to get taken care of?
Our deal was coming up. Our contract we were under was going to be coming up while Glenn was out. Yeah.
Oh.
So Bruce came up to us and said, listen, we want you guys to go home, relax, get better. Chaz, you know, do whatever you got to do. You know, Glenn, heal up, get better. But we want you to be comfortable to know when you have a spot when you come back.
That's awesome.
For the next 3 years. So that's what they gave us, a guarantee. It was a guaranteed deal. Now, when we were on the road, we obviously made way more than that. But still, it was nice knowing that we had that. So, and then Glenn got released, and then I didn't re-sign. And then right when my contract was up is when Vince bought WCW. So there was no opportunity when my contract was coming up, they were like, well, we don't know what to do with you. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, creative doesn't know who you are. And I'm like, that's a whole different thing. But I couldn't go to WCW because WCW was now owned by WWF.
Yeah.
So there was nowhere for me to go. So I guess the answer to the question, there really was no opportunity for us to go to have contract negotiation and say, listen, we're on top right now. You know, we're really popular. WCW is asking us to come over there. They're offering us more money because they offered us a contract. Like I said, I want to say there was maybe 4, 5, or 6 months left on our existing contract we had when Glenn got hurt. So they automatically gave us a new deal which kept us comfortable because what was I going to do at that point? Go to WCW and say, hey, we'd like to come over here. Can you give us a better deal than they're giving us? But hold on, wait a minute. Glenn's hurt. He's going to be out 6 months. So,
Jeez. Now, did you guys ever post WWE consider a run with any other company, like, or going overseas and having a long run in Japan or a long stint in TNA? Would you guys do that now? Would you guys consider going to AEW?
I don't know. AEW's called us a couple times, but it was to go over. It was to go there and put someone over.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, no storyline, no nothing. I'm like, sorry, I'm not interested in that. We did go up to, even me by myself, when TNA was taping in Orlando and Cornette was there, I would go up and be like, hey, I'm here. Remember me? I'm alive. And then Glenn would come up a couple times with me. And when we started doing stuff again, and the only thing that ever happened was with Ring of Honor when we went back when Cornette was there.
Yep.
And again, that was short-lived because Cornette left, and then what's his name never called us back again. But whatever. Japan, I would like to go to. I've still never been to Japan. Want to go one time, but as far as going over there for like a long-term thing, I don't know. Now, 100% no. I would go over to do a show just to do Japan because I want to do Japan. I do a tour or whatever it is. But as far as like a full-time gig back and forth, I don't think so. I don't want to travel that much anymore. And, you know, I'm older and I have other things I want to do. And even back then, Tyler was young. I didn't want to be gone all the time. And that's one of the things I found. I'm very fortunate that I had this incredible run with WWF back in the day when I was single with no responsibilities, because being on the road 250 to 300 days a year when you have kids at home and you're missing activities. I told you the story I had with Billy Gunn in Montreal. Yeah. When he missed, I think it was Austin's first home run because he's sitting in Montreal. And I was like, oh, that sucks. We're still going out tonight, right? Like, it meant nothing to me until I had a kid. So,
jeez. Yeah, that's heavy, man.
Yeah, it's tough. So, and again, I know a lot of the guys now up there, from what you see and what you hear, you know, they have these giant contracts. And I mean, obviously they're top guys that have them and they deserve them. They've earned them. So it's just different. So I'm just wondering to see how it plays out, because again, the pay-per-view money was gone because now they're all, you know, PLEs on Peacock. So and I don't know how that works on the back end with royalties. If guys still get royalties off of that, if they're on the if they're on the PLE or not, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so, and I wonder. I mean, you saw the issues that happened during the Tyson Paul fight. Could you imagine during the Royal Rumble? You know, 5, 4, 3, 2, what, and then the buffering. Like, people are going to lose their minds.
Listen, I think that's going to happen no matter what. I mean, streaming at home. So my internet at the house, I have internet, but I don't have like cable. I just have internet, and then I use a Fire Stick, and I have apps. So even for me, like if I'm watching a live sporting football game or something, it'll pause and spin, and I go, oh. It's like it's the if you have a lot of people, because I don't have, like, my TV's not plugged in because it's all off. I mean, it's my router's plugged in, hardwired, but all the TVs and everything in here work off the Wi-Fi. So I just think it's the internet that you have at the house.
Oh.
And then if a lot of people, like, you know, I'm in a townhouse. I live in a townhouse. So there's 4 other people. Like, if there's people all around me watching the same thing, it's going to buffer. So even now, like I said, I get buffering sometimes, and I go, okay, like, here we go. Or they were doing stuff with the internet outside, switching to fiber optics or whatever, and it was spotty for like a week and a half. It was driving me batty. So I think no matter what, that's going to happen, because even if I'm streaming, like on CW, it'll buffer every now and then. It just is.
But overall, would you say, preemptively, the move to Netflix for Raw, thumbs up or thumbs down for the business?
Yeah. For the business, or for the boys, or for the office?
Ooh.
So I think for the office, it's thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
For the boys, I don't know yet. I'm on the fence. For the normal fan, let's say, you know, USA and CW, all these other channels are regular streaming channels on the internet. Like it's in your regular, with TNT and all the, it's the ABC. It's all this, it's regularly listed channels. And I don't know how many people in the world don't, or in the United States don't have Netflix, but what if you don't have Netflix and your parents are like, I'm not buying you Netflix. I don't have Netflix. I'm not buying it.
Yeah,
like you have TV to watch. You don't have Netflix.
Yeah, it's the end. It's the end of an era, regardless that WWE will no longer be on network television. But Chaz, we were going to talk about some fantasy stuff, and I'm going to ask you to name a tag team that you and Glenn would absolutely love, be tickled pink to come back in any company and face right now. But before you answer, people are going to have to wait till next week because I got a bunch of fantasy booking questions for you. It's going to be the fantasy edition of the Mosh Sez Show. And before we leave you guys, there's one more special announcement to make. From now on, you will no longer have to play the guessing game on when the show will air because our new episodes will go live every Monday at 7 a.m. Boom.
There you
on
go.
The YouTube page, on the Facebook page, the Mosh Sez Show on Facebook, guys. Tell your friends, push that like button, spread the word if you can. We are doing our very best to give you guys little morsels of entertainment you can take on the commute to work, while you're walking your dog, while you're on the treadmill, whatever you do. Listen to Chaz and I and have yourselves a blast.
Hit the Facebook page, hit the like button, hit subscribe here because then it'll automatically pop up when it goes live at 7 a.m. And I already know what my answer is to your fantasy question. That was very simple.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's it. Peace out. And we see you next time.
See you guys. Thanks for listening.